Hey, there you are. Welcome back to the channel. This is the most disturbing videos on the internet today. Let's dive in.
These entities are so much more powerful than people can comprehend. And the greatest deception the enemy has accomplished thus far in the last 150 years is to convince people that the Bible is not supernatural. They have raped our scriptures of all the supernatural elements in there. Like in Isaiah 13, when you pick up a scripture today, a Bible today, and it says ostriches are going to dwell there and hairy, shaggy goats are going to dwell there. They took away the word satyr. They don't want people to know about Pan and the Baphomet and Azazel. They don't want his identity known. They don't want people to think that there's an actual hierarchical structure to these entities. They have names and characters and temples and priests. And they give us the ostrich instead of the siren. They take away the mermaid-looking creature with serpentine legs coming out of her rear end. That's a kidnap. That's her. And they don't want people to understand that's right. What dwells in these places. That's what's in these waters of these lakes. I could throw my blades in water and she would bring them back to me.
Really?
That's what she offers. She offers mystically charged magical weapons to warriors. That's the whole Merlin myth. You know, it's not a myth. These are like histories just repackaged to make them palatable in cultures that it's illegal to talk about it. These people operate under this legal groundwork, and when they need to get their stories out and they want to preserve their legends and their truths, they couch them in mysteries. That's the mystery religion. That's not how the Father operates. Yeshua literally said, I've done everything open in the open. You do what you do in secret. That's a different kingdom. And I was a guardian of the secrets for these families, so I witnessed their oaths, their vows, their ceremonies. I was there brought in to watch them marry to monsters, to people that looked like men and creatures that were not mankind. I had to bear witness to these atrocities. I had to see people I loved in their pubescent bloom be ravaged, and then watch people take skull cups, the top head of a skull, catch that blood and drink it. That's the filth these people are engaging in. It's not just some kind of abominations. The scriptures are explicit about this stuff for a reason. It's shameful to talk about these things. However, this is the reality of what people's lives are wed to. So when your mom who gives birth to you was conceiving you during that, you got some demonic stuff coming, son. You know, there's a reason some people are just, their lives are train wrecks all the time because they're dealing with that at their origin. They don't know they're a moon child. They have no idea that they were conjured during a Babylonian ritual. But that stuff carries on, and then they have children who have children. And if you look at the branches of that tree behind me, it doesn't take long until you have a lot of ancestors. And that iniquity feeds like an IV line, like the circulatory system, back to the devil, the dragon himself. All of it ultimately goes through his kingdom, his city in the sky. These entities are so much more.
People say the Starbucks symbol is a siren with them serpentine legs. Is she handing out mystical daggers, you know, you can yab somebody with and they turn to stone? I don't know.
It was not the Great Flood, but the 1600s experienced enough water to cover railroad tracks that had to be dug out. In the 1800s, enough water that would take over 800 ships and pull them together in a cluster in San Francisco Bay. The remnants burned in 1851. Enough water in the 1600s to bury pyramids in South America and in Mexico. It was enough water to take an entire island and pull it back to the mainland. It was enough water to make a land with no Great Lakes into a land of Great Lakes. The evidence is all around us in paintings, maps, testimony, but you will not find this 16th century event in any history book. It was not the Great Flood.
The Black Flood, 1657.
Once again, the Mountain Dew conspiracy predicted what just happened in 2025. The theory goes that every major new flavor they release contains a hidden message that foreshadows a major world event. So like in 2001, they released their famous Code Red flavor. Just 3 months later, in September, that happens, a Code Red. Then they dropped Mountain Dew Maui Burst, and we had the wildfires in Maui back in 2023. Star Spangled Splash came out the same year that Baltimore Bridge. Remember that? The name of the bridge was the Francis Scott Key Bridge. Now, who wrote the American national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner? Yup, Francis Scott Key, Star Spangled Splash. In 2025, they came out with Baja Midnight, a new flavor they're really pushing, and well, it sort of just happened. Just like in 2024, when they dropped Infinite Swirl, which coincided with the insane hurricane season in southeastern USA that never seemed to end. And the re-release of their Pitch Black flavor preceded the largest IT blackout in history, the CrowdStrike outage in that same year. Another one, Purple Thunder, has the same name as a classified military defense test performed by the IDF, and well, let's just leave it at that. But now we have Baja Midnight, which they announced in a live press conference not too long ago. And just have a look at what the US military's recent activity in you-know-where was called. Yeah, that. Cited as being the largest B-2 bomber airstrike in US history, which struck at midnight. Now, Baja typically means low or lower in Spanish, but can also be taken to translate to... yeah, I couldn't make this up if I tried. Baja Midnight. Did this really just happen? Once again, the Mountain Dew... yeah, I couldn't make this up.
Hold on. What was that called? Operation Midnight Hammer. What? That's not what this was, though. There's no way. I still don't know. I know that's a stealth bomber. I don't know what that is. That has to be F-35. F-22. What is it? They have a turret on them. I forgot the name. And this looks like a Blue Angel, I want to say.
Aight, here we go. Let's zoom all the way in on these airplane windows and what they're really doing, piece by piece, layer by layer. This ain't just glass we talking about. This is a whole sensory manipulation system built to distort reality. First off, the shape. Airplane windows are rounded and small, not square or panoramic. That ain't just about safety like they claim. The round shape actually prevents your brain from locking in a flatline perspective. Why? Because they don't want you seeing the truth about the horizon, the lack of curvature, or how close the clouds and lands really are. That oval frame trains your eyes to look straight and small, not wide and observational. Now the multiple pane. Every window has at least 2 or 3 layers, inner, middle, and outer. In between those layers, you got specialized gas mixtures, usually argon or some other inert element, but the kicker is that these gases have light refraction properties. That means when you look through, it bends the light, subtly distorting how far, how big, and how curved everything looks. It's like a built-in fisheye lens. You think you're seeing miles out? You ain't. You're seeing a controlled optical illusion. The bleed hole, that tiny little pinhole at the bottom of the inner pane, they say it's for equalizing pressure, but what it's really doing is acting like a frequency port. It emits a low-frequency vibration just outside your conscious hearing range to calm your nervous system, induce drowsiness, and reinforce compliance. That's why you feel foggy or tired mid-flight. It ain't just altitude, it's engineered sedation. This also subtly detaches you from time awareness. Hours pass weirdly fast or slow. That's a mind control tactic. The tinting and material composition. A lot of these windows have photoreactive coatings, like polarized sunglasses, but more advanced. Some even use liquid crystal layers that respond to EMF signals. These can auto-dim, glare up, or mute certain color spectrums. Translation: you ain't seeing true daylight or the actual color of the sky. You're seeing filtered frequencies. Sometimes the sky looks blue, sometimes pale. Depends what the cabin lighting and window frequency match is set to. What it blocks. It's not just filtering what comes in visually. These windows also act as shields. They block out UV radiation, but they also block certain infrared and etheric frequencies that your pineal gland would naturally pick up on. That gland is like your spiritual radar, and they don't want it activated. The windows create a sensory dampening field, so even if you were flying near something strange, like a craft, a sky portal, or land not on the map, you wouldn't feel it in your spirit. You wouldn't even recognize it for what it is. Window placement. Almost every seat either shows you the wing, engine, or a vague stretch of sky. That's on purpose. The wing blocks your view of the Earth's true plane, and the engines create a vibrational noise field that adds more distortion to what your body feels and hears. Also, planes are designed so certain windows aren't even real. They're fake panels, just there for symmetry. Cameras in the windows. Now this one's hidden deep. Some planes, especially the newer models, got micro cameras embedded near the windows, not to record you, but to monitor eye movement, where you're looking, and what catches your attention. That data gets logged. If you linger too long on something out the window that doesn't match the programmed environment, it triggers a silent alert. Some people get approached by crew without realizing it was because they were just looking too long or too hard. The illusion of view. So even when you think you're seeing the outside world, you're actually looking at a filtered feed. There are reports, real ones, that say some windows don't even show what's outside in real time. They're augmented displays, not unlike heads-up displays in military vehicles, meaning they project a curated version of the outside to keep.
Hello. Eu queria ver, eu via.
Ô tio, faro do senhor aqui, nossa, sim.
The disrespect. Imagine being hunted in your own territory.
If you want to see a quantum computer, just go outside and look at a forest. Look at a leaf. A leaf takes light from the sun, photons, combines it with carbon dioxide, creates oxygen, and also eventually creates cellulose and chlorophyll. Think about it for a moment. That's a computation. That's a quantum computer. Mother Nature does this at room temperature. Mother Nature is ahead of us. We can't yet do it at room temperature.
Nature is just a very small part of an even bigger picture if you ask yourself who even created it in the first place.
We know the truth now. Here, let me teach you in under a minute how you can spot an ancient city built by melanated people by the star alignments. Let's go. This is Moscow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 buildings on this side aligned with one large building on this side. Let me show you where this comes from. Ancient cultures aligned cities, even Tartarian-style buildings with the star alignment. You have Aldebaran and you have the Pleiades with the 7 stars. Let's keep going. Those 7 ancient buildings are called the 7 Sisters.
I know this building. This is in Russia. And I believe they're using it for a hotel right now.
7 Sisters translates into the Pleiades star system. Let's keep going. Now, this building right here represents the Aldebaran star. The one sits alone. Let's go see what color the Aldebaran star is. The Aldebaran star is the red giant star. Let's keep going. Now, look at the top of this building. The red star. Let's keep going. That building has the red star on the top of it. And Moscow, Russia's flag has the red Aldebaran star. We know the truth now.
Don't let the media distract you. Right now, the U.S. intends to sell 250 million acres of public land. What that means for many of us, you won't have the ability to fish, hunt, trap, and enjoy the great outdoors. But here's the more pressing issue. 250 million acres is about 40% of what America owns. It establishes a precedence where we're going to probably see this happen more and in other places. But if this occurs, corporations will be the premier buyers. We're going to see unbelievable things occur because unbelievable things are happening. That's how serious this is. I don't say it to scare you. I say it to prepare you for what's to come. You see the shirt? Buy land because they're selling it all.
He's not lying. There's a state park I like going to, and they're saying this will be the last year because it's being sold to, I believe, a Chinese company. And these are a lot of state parks that are being bought out. So, yeah.
I think it's all starting to make sense now. I believe that after the solar flash happens and it pushes us into a singularity event and all the timelines merge into like a one timeline, right? And we actually are looking at time from the fifth dimension to the third dimension, so we're able to see past, present, and future at one moment. So, and on top of that, we actually grow an extra 20 to 25 feet tall. Some people grow bigger than others, but I think that these people are from the future and they're slipping through time and ending up into a place where they're in the past or whatever, and we're writing about them in the future, but really they're from this timeline. And when they slip through time, they just, they just kind of lose who they are, but they still have, there's more giants in the past because people are slipping through time and they start in civilizations or whatnot. But I believe that the Anunnaki are from the future, the Zeta Greys from the future, the Atlanteans are from the future. Everybody, we're about to merge into this multi-dimensional timeline war, and we're about to see the third dimension from the fifth dimension, looking at from the outside in.
A solar flash sounds interesting. I would like to look more into that. That would kind of explain some of the petrification of the giants.
Is this really true? Please rectify. Don't talk on the phone while charging.
Plugged in. So as you can see, there's power in there. You plug in your phone, there's power in there. But if someone is talking on the phone while the phone is charging, the electric waves will come to your body. Don't charge your phones while talking.
I've told you before that the input and output of wall adapters must be isolated per standard. So of course there is a very weak AC path through your wall adapter. So you can sense electricity over the charging cable and in your cell phone when it's plugged in. So if you pick up your cell phone, some of those electric fields go over your body. What you see here, I can't sense anything at all. So that's your first clue that holding your cell phone while charging in your hand is safe because there is no energy across your body. Let's see how much current runs in worst case scenario, shorting the output of the wall adapter to earth ground through the multimeter. And this is microamp range. If I connect it, 1 microamp only. 1 microamp is nothing. Such super small currents won't affect your body, so forget about it.
Is this? What's even more messed up is he got his son holding the device. We need to go back to writing letters so you can see someone's penmanship and feelings and go ahead and fold that boy and send it. That's what we need to go back to. Carrier pigeons, something. That baby was hitting it.
Don't breathe through your lungs. You only breathe when the oxygen's in the blood. You breathe through your blood, not through your lungs. So that's part of our miseducation, because we actually think we hear with our ears. You hear with your brain. The sound is picked up and put in the blood, and the blood takes it to the brain, and the brain hears. You hear with your brain, you see with your brain, you touch with your brain, you taste with your brain. So we got it. That's part of our miseducation I was telling you about. The organ that takes the most oxygen is your brain. So when you're starving for oxygen, your brain's starving for oxygen. And the brain says, I'm starving. I need more nutrients. So it says, I better step up the estrogen, because estrogen holds moisture and nutrients. So it's going to throw your hormone level off. You see, so I know I got to balance your hormone level because that's been thrown off. It's just basic kind of science. Anything that's different has a different pH, as they call it. So I had to balance that ratio because you're suffering with the wrong ratio, because the body says, I'm in a crisis. If I'm in a crisis, I'm going to go dire stress. Not only explain dire stress, you do much better with it than I do.
Under dire stress, your digestive system says, I'm not going to digest food. The R in dire stress is your reproductive system. you're not going to reproduce anything. And you really, when you're under stress, most sane people don't want to. Your E is your excretory system. Your excretory system is the ability of your body to be able to excrete waste. So when the body's under stress, it can't digest. You have to come out of the stress. And when you come out of the stress, then you can digest the food. And a lot of people get sick because they're under stress. And if you're under stress for long periods of time, say if you've been under stress for 6 months, your digestive system hasn't been working for 6 months. Body is only gonna do one thing at a time. You want me to digest this food? Get out of stress.
What we're trying to do is say that the lungs are stressed. Now we know that oil goes to the lungs. So when people smoke, the smoke is carrying the oils, which they call nicotine. The smoke is carrying the cannabinol, and all that goes to the lungs and clogs them up. Well, we know that. We know that things that pull the moisture out of tissue pulls the moisture out of lungs. The body carries waste out that it can't get out the body through peeing, and a bowel movement says, well, I can only pee through the lungs. That's snot. That's the body carrying waste out through snot. And the body carries the waste out and dumps it in your lungs. You see? And it says, that's the way I got to get the waste out. So it dumps it in the lungs, and then you cough to loosen it up and throw it out. That's why I said you just peeing through your lungs. So we got to increase the efficiency of the kidneys to get rid of this waste so it don't have to go to the lungs. You see, so you need something for the kidneys. It sounds, I'm trying to draw the picture here. You say lungs, I better take something for cough and cold. I'm saying, no, you got to take something for your kidneys, because your kidneys going to get rid of the waste so it won't be dumped into the lungs. You have to get away from the salt, because if you crave salt, you got to crave sugar. If you crave sugar, you got to crave salt. That's why they have salt and sugar in every candy bar. So if you crave sugar, you want some salt. You want some salt, you crave sugar. So you got to get off of those two, because it's going to pull moisture out of the tissues of your lungs. You got to strengthen your kidneys so they can transport the waste so they won't try to dump it into the lungs. Don't breathe through your lungs.
I'm a mouth breather. You know, I'm trying my best to start breathing through my nose more, but the more you learn about the body, the more it makes sense. The better healthy options you make, the better you feel when you cut out all that processed food and stuff. And that's why I recommend join me as I start planting fresh vegetables and just start eating out of our own garden. Grow everything you eat. Self-sufficient. That's all we have for today's video. If you made it this far, the code word is Sunday Vibes. Go ahead and drop Sunday Vibes in the comments below. That lets me know you're a real one. You made it all the way through the video, and I just want to say thank you. Your support means the world to me. Be sure to head over to Jet Ski Chuck later, because I am going live today. It's going to be a lot of fun. Don't miss out on that action. This was the most disturbing videos on the internet today. See you tomorrow.